The best thing that you can do if you really want to improve your life is disappear for 90 days, go all in on your main goal, and come back unrecognizable. Over the years, I've realized that most people stay stuck or they fall off track entirely because their focus is scattered. They have too many vague objectives and no real plan on how they're going to achieve them. So in other words, they stay busy, but they're never moving forward. In this video, I'm going to go over my 90-day assault method, which is the same system that I used to go from being a drunk touring musician to building a 7-figure brand while raising my daughter and getting into the best shape of my life. I kind of stumbled upon the 90-day assault method by accident, or better yet, through trial and error. I spent years thinking that the only way that I could achieve my goals was by doing as much work as humanly possible. I would overstack my plate and just kind of hope for the best. And then, like clockwork, every 3 months, I would find myself completely burned out. Then I would have to spend days, weeks, maybe even months trying to recover. Eventually, I took a step back to see if there was a better way to go about achieving my goals because I knew that this current approach was not ideal, nor was it something that I could do long term. I needed to find the missing piece of the puzzle or else I was going to be destined to repeat this same cycle over and over again and not really make any progress. And then one day it hit me. I didn't have any clarity or an actual plan of attack. I knew what I wanted to achieve, but there was no strategy to do it. I was just kind of hoping that hard work alone would do the trick, and this was honestly kind of an unintelligent way of going about it. I realized that this was a dangerous belief as well because I caught myself doing a lot of busy work that made me feel productive, but my life wasn't changing in any meaningful way. I was kind of just shooting blind in all directions and hoping that I hit something when the best approach is to actually steady your aim before you pull the trigger. That way, you're much more likely to hit your target. Everything changed when I finally understood this because I became ruthless about my focus and where I was directing my energy. Instead of just doing every task that I could think of, I was only doing the tasks that actually made the biggest impact. The first place that I decided to apply this new approach was with my company, Norse Fitness. For years, it was the only thing that I really cared about. All of my goals were focused around growing the company. So within 5 years, we had really dug ourselves into a hole because I was trying to make every product under the sun. We started off just making t-shirts, and then, before I knew it, we were making every piece of clothing that you can possibly imagine. Fitness accessories like lifting straps, wrist straps, knee sleeves, elbow sleeves, belts, along with supplements, and I opened up a gym on top of it. I think at one point we had over 50 SKUs, which was absolutely insane. Now, I know that all of that might sound impressive from the outside looking in, but in all reality, it was an absolute dumpster fire. I had no idea which products to focus on. I was drowning in options, and that's when I decided to do the 90-day assault. For 90 days, we were only allowed to focus on one product. So whether it was email marketing, shooting content, posting on social media, running ads, whatever it was, we were only focusing on this one thing. And the results were mind-blowing. We saw more growth in that first 90 days than we did the previous year. So getting tunnel vision on one product for 90 days was a massive business win. But then I started to think, can you apply this to every other aspect of your life? And the answer to that is yes, and it works better than you can possibly imagine. The reason that this method works so well to improve every aspect of your life is because it solves the biggest problem that most people have, which is lack of focused direction. Right now, your energy is scattered in every possible direction, and it's not allowing any of your efforts to actually compound. You're chasing too many things at once, and it's stopping you from building any real momentum. This scattered approach is what's making you feel overwhelmed. And it doesn't matter what you're pursuing, whether it's fitness, business, or just trying to learn a new skill. There are so many different paths that you can take to accomplish your objective, but you can't take them all. And yet that's exactly what most people try to do. Everyone thinks that they can just do as many things as possible and eventually they will reach their destination. I'm sure that you're starting to realize that this is not a realistic approach. All it's going to do is cause you to feel lost to the point that you eventually just give up. Going about it in this sort of way is the equivalent of trying to sprint down 1,000 different paths and getting nowhere as a result. It's a complete waste of effort that stops you from reaching the end point. You are constantly having to restart and never seeing anything through to the end. The entrepreneur does this by trying to sell as many products as possible. The fitness enthusiast does it by jumping from diet to diet and never sticking to a workout plan. And the jiu-jitsu practitioner does it by trying to learn as many things at once instead of just focusing on a takedown, a guard pass, and a submission. You see, it doesn't matter what your pursuit is. The only way to achieve victory is by getting absolute tunnel vision. You have to go full blitzkrieg in one clear direction. That is what allows you to transform your identity and achieve your goals. Everything will become easier and far more effective when you focus on one objective and a few high leverage actions for 90 days. Your progress will compound faster than you can possibly imagine, and you will become unrecognizable. You'll stop wasting energy on things that don't actually matter and focus all of your attention in one single direction that's going to make the biggest impact. It's the equivalent of trying to break down a wall with a hammer and suddenly using a bulldozer. You're also going to notice that your anxiety goes away because your path is clear and you're taking appropriate action. What most people don't realize is that anxiousness is often caused by inaction or doing the wrong thing. Once this is fixed, you're going to be filled with confidence that you can then use as a tool to overcome anything standing in your way. Self-doubt is removed and replaced with certainty. On top of that, you're going to experience less burnout because you don't have as much weight on your shoulders and you have a solid plan that actually gives you energy. Every step propels you forward as momentum becomes your primary fuel source. The elimination of tasks that never mattered in the first place stops dragging you down. It will feel like your soul is on fire because you're living in alignment with who you're meant to become. The evolution of your being fills you with an unstoppable force, and that flame grows stronger with each passing day as you continue your ascent upwards. At this point, it's not a matter of if you will achieve your goals, but only when it will actually take place. So now let's actually develop your plan of attack. That way you can get started. The first step to the 90-day assault is deciding on one long-term goal that you want to achieve. This can't be superficial. It needs to be the solution to the problem that you are currently facing. It is the obstacle that is standing in your way of the life that you want to live. This is why we set goals in the first place. We have a specific vision of what we want our life to look like, and the achievement of this objective is what will make it a reality. Now, this is what most people miss. You will never be able to create your ideal future without first changing your identity. The process of achieving the goal is what will allow you to accomplish the objective. You will never be able to declare victory until this transformation takes place. Whether it's losing weight, starting a business, making money, or finding a partner, it doesn't matter. None of these things will happen until you change your habits, because your habits shape your identity, and your identity creates your life. The only way to achieve success is by becoming the person who can grab it. Now, I'm breaking this down for you so much because it's important for you to understand what makes an effective goal. That way you can set one that will actually give you the results that you want. This is by far the most important piece of the puzzle. So I want you to ask yourself these questions. What does my ideal life look like? What is standing in my way the most? Who do I have to become to make this a reality? Really take some time to think about these questions because the answers will become your why, which is your fuel source that will keep you moving forward during the assaults. Now that you have your main goal, the next thing that we need to do is break it down into 90-day targets because trying to go about this entire endeavor all at once is a failing plan. This is what will lead to you feeling overwhelmed and eventually giving up, which is the last thing that we want. Thinking about the endpoint and everything that you need to get done in order for you to get there is a surefire way to send your brain into panic mode. You can think of it like running a marathon or climbing a mountain. The most effective approach is to just take it one step at a time until you reach the next checkpoint, and then the next, and the next, and the next, until you eventually reach the finish line. This is the same way that you should go about any large goal that you set for yourself. So now you need to start developing your strategy. Think about the main goal that you want to achieve and then split that up into 4 separate 90-day assaults and decide on the first checkpoint that you need to reach. For example, let's say that you want to lose 50 pounds over the next 12 months. Instead of focusing on losing all of that weight at the same time, set micro goals where you lose 12 pounds every 90 days. Suddenly, that big overwhelming goal becomes a lot more doable. Your next step is to choose 3 to 5 different actions that you can do every day that will move you closer to your first checkpoint. These will become the habits that will ensure your final victory. Now, this might sound easy at first glance, but it's just as important as the previous steps. One of the downsides to having access to so much information nowadays is that we are overwhelmed with options. All you have to do is go to Google and type in, "How do I lose 50 pounds?" and you'll be met with endless options, most of them being complete garbage. This leads to paralysis by analysis, then nothing gets done. So you really have to use your best judgment here to decide on which actions are going to give you the best returns because, like I said, you can only choose 3 to 5 of these to do every day. What I would recommend doing is going and asking help from someone that has experience with exactly what you want to achieve. For the weight loss example, the 3 to 5 actions that you would do every day to make sure that you hit that first checkpoint of losing 12 pounds would be tracking your calories to make sure that you stay in a deficit, hitting 10,000 plus steps every day, sleeping 7 plus hours every night, and making sure that you're in the gym 3 to 5 days every week. If you do that for 90 days, you're almost guaranteed to reach your goal. As you can see, none of this is overly complicated. If anything, it's pretty damn simple. And that's the case with pretty much any goal. The hardest part is just staying consistent, which is why we need to remove distractions. When I say you need to eliminate everything and disappear for 3 months, I'm not saying that you need to go full hermit mode and go live in the mountains by yourself, even though that does sound extremely appealing at times. What I'm saying is you just need to take inventory of your environment. You are constantly surrounded by external influences that do not serve your higher purpose. Over time, these factors accumulate until you are practically suffocating in distractions. The only way that you're going to be able to achieve your objective is by removing anything that robs you of your attention and energy. This might mean turning down social gatherings or deleting social media, unplugging the TV, cutting out alcohol or other recreational drugs. You need to get rid of anything that has potential to pull you away from your mission. Now, all of this might sound extreme, but it's called an assault for a reason. You are waging war until your conquest is complete. If you aren't willing to cut out some bullshit to achieve your objective, you have to ask yourself if you really want it in the first place. Now, the only way that you're going to be able to keep any sort of constant forward momentum is with a system that allows you to replenish your energy reserves. In the beginning, you're going to be fired up and fueled by motivation, which is absolutely fantastic. We all love that feeling. The issue with that, though, is that motivation burns away quickly. It's unreliable. You need something that you can actually depend on. You need a routine that will allow you to ground yourself and to recharge on a daily basis, or else you're going to risk burning out and eventually falling off track entirely. This routine needs to actually give you energy and not take any away. That's extremely important to understand because there's all kinds of different things that we can do every day that aren't actually serving us in the long run. Over the years, I've experimented and I've narrowed it down to 5 different actions that become part of my routine. They're extremely simple, but they are effective and they allow me to recharge. That way I can continue moving forward each and every day. If you're interested in developing these same habits for yourself, I put together a free 30-day energy reclaim challenge. You can find it in the description below. Like I said, this is what allows me to stay on track towards my goals without burning out. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.